The city market of Zarin was alive with strange colors and loud voices. Tall alien towers stood in the distance, glowing under the twin suns. Crowds of alien traders shouted about spices, metals, and weapons. But in one dark corner of the market, the sound was not of selling, it was of crying. A young alien mother sat on the stone ground, her arms holding a small child close to her chest. The child's skin had turned pale, his breaths weak and shallow. She whispered softly, rocking him back and forth, but his tiny eyes were half closed. His body shook as fever burned through him. Medicine. "Please, someone help," the mother begged. Her voice cracked. Her large, silver eyes were filled with tears. "My child. He needs the medicine." But the crowd walked past. No one stopped. Some aliens shook their heads coldly. Others muttered that medicine was too expensive for beggars. A few even looked disgusted, as if her weakness was shameful. The mother held out her thin hand, shaking, but no one dropped a coin. The child coughed weakly. Each cough sounded like a knife cutting her heart. She pressed her lips to his forehead, whispering promises she could not keep, and then footsteps stopped near her. It was not an alien. It was a human. The man stood tall, wearing a dusty jacket and carrying a small travel bag. His dark eyes looked down at the mother, then at the child. He saw the sweat on the boy's face, the shallow rise and fall of his chest. The market noise seemed to fade as he crouched beside them. "What happened?" His voice was calm, but heavy. The mother looked up, afraid. Humans were rare in this city. She hesitated, but desperation pushed her words out. "My son, fever. He needs medicine. But I have nothing. They won't give me credit, please." Her voice broke, her head lowered in shame. The human frowned. He glanced around. Merchants were watching, but turned away when he met their eyes. None wanted to get involved. His jaw tightened. "What medicine?" he asked quickly. She reached into her cloth bag and pulled out a crumpled slip of paper, the prescription. "Zora extract vial, only 1 dose will save him." "But the price," her voice dropped to a whisper. 10 times what I earn in a year." The human's chest felt heavy. He looked at the child again. The boy's lips were turning blue. He stood up suddenly. "Wait here." The mother's heart raced. Was he leaving? Her arms tightened around the child, as if she feared the stranger might vanish forever, just like all the others. But she watched as the human strode across the market toward a glowing shop sign that read Pharmazar. Inside, the air smelled sharp of chemicals. Rows of glowing bottles lined the walls. The shopkeeper, a bulky alien with 3 eyes, raised his head lazily. "What do you want, off-worlder?" The human placed the prescription slip on the counter. "This, now." The shopkeeper chuckled darkly. "Zora extract? Very rare, very expensive. You don't have enough." His 3 eyes studied him like a predator. "You humans, always thinking you can save everyone. This is not your problem." The human leaned closer, voice cold. "The child outside will die without it." The shopkeeper shrugged. "Then let him die. One less mouth to feed in this world." His hand tapped the counter. "Unless you have the credits." The human reached into his travel bag and counted what he had. It was enough for food and travel, barely enough for a week's survival. He placed the coins on the counter. The shopkeeper laughed. "Half, that's not even." "Half." The human's fists tightened. His eyes burned with anger. He wanted to shout, to punch the alien in the face. But instead, he forced himself to breathe. Slowly, he gathered the coins back into his bag. For a moment, it looked like he was leaving. But he didn't leave. He turned back and said, "Then tell me where else I can get it." The shopkeeper's smile grew sly. "There is a place. Black District. Dangerous. Smugglers deal in such things. But if you go there, maybe you will not." Return alive. The human picked up the slip of paper, turned, and walked out without another word. Outside, the alien mother looked up, eyes wide with hope. Did you get it? The human crouched again. He shook his head slowly. Not yet, but I will. His voice was steady, strong. He touched the child's small hand, which was burning hot. Hold on. Just hold on, the mother gasped. No. You don't understand. The Black District. It's full of killers, thieves. You'll die. The human looked at her. His eyes were firm. Better I risk it than your child die here in the dirt. The alien mother's lips trembled. For the first time, someone had not walked past her. For the first time, someone had spoken with fire in his voice. She wanted to stop him, but the tiny cough in her arms reminded her she had no choice. The human stood, pulling his jacket tight. The sounds of the city returned around them, the market voices, the smells of smoke and spice. He took one last look at the child's face, then turned and walked into the shadows of the city. Toward the dangerous district where few returned. The mother watched him go, whispering to herself, Please, human, come back alive. Asterisk. The human left the alien mother sitting on the cold stone floor, her child trembling in her arms. He promised her he would try, but even he wasn't sure what he could do. The pharmacy lights glared harshly as he stepped inside. Bottles glowed on the shelves, but every one of them was locked behind reinforced glass. The air was thick with the smell of chemicals and greed. The shopkeeper, a fat alien with dull eyes, barely looked up. What do you want, outsider? The human placed the prescription slip on the counter. Zora extract, 1 vial. The shopkeeper's lips curled into a cruel smile. Expensive, very rare. You cannot afford it. The human dropped all the credits he had onto the counter. Every coin he had saved for his journey. Enough for food, shelter, travel. His future survival. The shopkeeper scooped them up, weighed them in his clawed hand, then laughed loudly. Not enough. Not even close. Maybe half of half. The human's jaw tightened. There must be another way. The shopkeeper leaned forward, lowering his voice. Another way exists. But not for you. Go back to your own kind. For a moment, the human almost turned away. He could walk out. Now keep his money, his strength. He owed nothing to the alien mother, to her child. No one else cared, why should he? But then he remembered the boy's face, the way his chest rose so faintly. The mother's whispered plea, Please, someone help. The human closed his fist around the coins and took them back. His voice was low, but firm. Then tell me where. The shopkeeper's smile grew sly. The Black District, there, smugglers deal in Zora extract. Dangerous men, dangerous place. Go, if you value death more than life. The human shoved the slip into his pocket. He turned without another word and walked out of the shop. Outside, the alien mother looked up with desperate hope. Did you get it? He shook his head. Not here. But I know where. Her face drained of color. No, not the Black District. It's filled with killers. If you go there, you may never come back. The human crouched low, meeting her silver eyes. If I don't, your son won't see another sunrise. The child coughed weakly, his small hand twitching. The sound cut deeper than any blade. The human rose again, pulling his jacket tight. His body was already weary, but his decision was final. He turned toward the shadows of the city where even the guards feared to go. The mother cried out after him, her voice breaking. Why would you risk your life for us? You don't even know our names. The human stopped, glancing back just once. His eyes were steady, unshaken, because no one else will. And with that, he vanished into the dark streets, walking toward a place where law did not exist, and where only the desperate and the deadly survived. The mother held her son close, whispering through tears, Please, human. Please come back alive. The human stepped into the black district of Zeren. The lights of the marketplace were gone. Here, the streets were narrow, the walls covered in strange glowing symbols. Smoke from burning trash filled the air, and shadows moved behind every corner. The mother's warning echoed in his head: killers, thieves, you'll die. But he kept walking. He clutched the prescription slip in his pocket, his hand never leaving the handle of his old steel knife. His boots crunched on broken glass as alien voices whispered around him. Some stared, some laughed. They had seen humans before, but never one foolish enough to come here alone. At last, he found it, a metal door with a red mark scratched across it. Behind it, he could hear muffled music and harsh laughter. This was the smuggler's den. He knocked once. The door opened with a hiss, and a tall alien with sharp tusks blocked the way. His eyes glowed faint yellow. What does a human want here? The human held out the slip. Zora extract, 1 vial. The tusked alien's grin widened. Medicine. Rare, dangerous, expensive. And why should I sell it to you? The human answered without fear. Because I have something you want. The alien tilted his head. And what would that be? From his bag, the human pulled out a small metal device, an old Earth-made battery, still charged. Among smugglers, human tech was priceless. The alien's grin grew even wider. He snatched the battery, then waved for the human to enter. Inside, the den was dark, filled with smoke and glowing eyes. Smugglers sat at broken tables, playing cards with blades in their hands. Weapons lined the walls: illegal blasters, plasma knives, poisons in glowing tubes. At the center sat the smuggler chief, a massive alien with scales across his body. His voice rumbled like thunder. A human in my hall? Either brave or stupid. The human did not bow. He simply placed the prescription slip on the table. The child doesn't have long. I need this medicine now. The chief leaned forward, picking up the slip. His yellow eyes scanned it slowly. Then he chuckled. Zora extract. I have it. He lifted a small glass vial from a locked case, its liquid glowing blue. The human's chest tightened. It was real. But, the chief continued, the price is more than a battery. It is blood. The human's jaw clenched. What do you mean? The smuggler leaned back in his chair. We play a game. You fight one of my men. If you win, you take the vial. If you lose. His sharp teeth showed. We keep your corpse and your tools. The hall filled with laughter. The human looked around. Dozens of eyes glowed in the smoke, waiting. The tusked alien cracked his knuckles. Stepping forward eagerly, the chief tossed the glowing vial into the air and caught it again, as if it were nothing. So human, do we have a deal? For a moment, the human stayed silent. He thought of the mother's desperate eyes. He thought of the boy's fading breath. He thought of how everyone else had walked past. Finally he nodded. His voice was steel. I'll fight. The smugglers roared with excitement, slamming their fists on the tables. Weapons rattled against the walls. The tusked alien rolled his shoulders. Towering over the human, the chief placed the vial on the table, the blue light glowing in the smoke. Then let's see if a human's blood is worth the price of medicine. The human dropped his bag to the ground, pulled his knife free, and stepped into the circle scratched into the floor. The crowd closed in, hungry for blood. The tusked alien lunged forward, claws outstretched. The fight for the child's life had begun. The Black District was behind him now. The air still carried smoke and blood, but in his hand was the prize, the small glass vial of Zora extract. Its blue glow pulsed softly, like the heartbeat of hope itself. The human's body hurt with every step. His jacket was torn, his face bruised, and blood dripped slowly from a cut on his arm. The tusked alien had fought like a beast, but the human's blade and stubborn will had won. Barely, every shadow still seemed to watch him as he moved. through the city's narrow streets. He kept the vial hidden in his fist. If anyone tried to take it, he was ready to spill more blood. But he had no time for more fights. The child was slipping closer to death with every passing breath. When he finally reached the marketplace again, the noise felt different. The cries of merchants, the clatter of trade, the hum of alien machines, it all seemed far away. His eyes locked only on the corner where the alien mother sat. She was still there, rocking her child in her arms. The boy was frighteningly still now. His lips had turned gray, his chest barely rising. The human's boots struck the stone fast as he crossed the crowd. The mother's head lifted, her silver eyes wide when she saw him. For a heartbeat, she didn't believe he had returned at all. "You came back," she whispered. Her voice was weak with shock. He knelt in front of her, placing the glowing vial in her trembling hands. "I told you I would." Her fingers shook so badly she almost dropped it. The boy coughed faintly, his body jerking. The mother fumbled with the vial, desperate but clumsy. The human steadied her hands, twisting the seal himself. The sharp smell of medicine filled the air. He lifted the boy's head gently, tilting it back. The child's eyes fluttered weakly, but he did not fully wake. "Stay with me," the human muttered, his voice rough. He pressed the vial to the boy's lips. A drop of glowing liquid slid inside his mouth. Then another. Then the rest. The mother leaned close, tears falling under her child's cheeks. "Please, my son, drink, please." The last drop vanished. The boy's body shivered, then went limp in his mother's arms. For a long moment, there was only silence. The mother's face twisted with horror. Her lips trembled as she shook the child softly. "No, no, don't leave me, not after this." Her cries cut through the market noise, turning heads. The human's heart pounded. He placed his ear close to the boy's chest. The heartbeat was faint, almost gone. "No. Come on, fight," the human whispered fiercely. He laid the child flat on the ground, ignoring the gasps of the onlookers. "Breathe, damn it!" He pinched the boy's nose, pressed his lips to the small mouth, and forced air inside. The aliens around him gasped in shock. They had never seen such a thing. He pressed on the chest, again and again, rhythm steady, desperate. The mother covered her face, sobbing, unable to watch. The human didn't stop. Sweat ran down his face, his arms burned, but he refused to stop. "Breathe, kid, you're not done yet." Then a tiny sound. The boy coughed, choking, his body jerking under the human's hands. His chest rose weakly, then fell again. The human leaned closer, forcing another breath into his lungs. This time, the boy gasped on his own. His chest rose deeper, his small hand twitching as color began to return to his skin. The mother's hands dropped from her face. She froze unbelieving, then cried out with joy. He's breathing." The human sat back, chest heaving. The boy's eyes opened a crack, glowing faint with life. But before relief could fill the air, shadows moved at the edge of the marketplace. Soldiers in dark armor appeared, pushing through the crowd. Their eyes scanned the area, their weapons glinting in the light. One of them pointed at the human. "There, that's him." The mother's joy turned instantly into terror. The human's jaw tightened, his hand falling toward his knife once again. The child had been saved. But now, someone wanted him dead. The boy lay on the ground, his tiny chest rising and falling slowly. Each breath was weak, but it was life. The alien mother held his hand tightly, whispering thanks again and again, tears streaming down her face. The human wiped the sweat from his brow. His muscles ached from the fight and from forcing air into the boy's lungs, but relief had started to wash over him. The medicine had taken hold. The child had a chance, but that fragile moment of peace shattered when the soldiers stepped into the circle. Their heavy boots struck the stone, and the market crowd shrank back instantly. Everyone knew their armor dark plates etched with the crest of the city rulers. One soldier, taller than the rest, pointed directly at the human. His voice boomed through the square. "You, human outsider. By order of the council, you are under arrest." The human rose slowly, his knife still in his hand. His eyes narrowed. "Arrested for saving a life?" The soldiers sneered. "You interfered with council law. Medicine is not free. You humiliated our system. That crime carries death." Gasps rippled through the crowd. The mother shook her head, wildly pulling her child closer. "No, he saved my son." Without him, the soldier slammed his spear to the ground, silencing her. "Quiet, woman. His fate is sealed." The human stepped forward, standing between the soldiers and the mother. His body was tense, ready to fight, even though he was outnumbered. The bruises on his face made him look even more dangerous, his dark eyes burning with defiance. "You want me?" he growled. "Then come and take me." The soldiers raised their weapons in unison. The market square froze. No one dared move. No one dared breathe. The mother clutched her son to her chest, her silver eyes wide with fear. The child stirred weakly, his voice a faint whisper. "Mama, who's that man?" She looked at the human's back, standing firm against armored killers, and her lips trembled. "The one who saved you." The first soldier lunged forward, spear thrusting toward the human's chest. The human twisted aside, his knife flashing, sparks flying as steel met alien alloy. The sound echoed like thunder through the square. The crowd erupted into chaos, some fleeing, some staying to watch. For them, this was forbidden, yet they could not look away. The human's knife cut across the soldier's arm, forcing him back. But two more rushed in, their weapons raised. He dodged one strike, but the other grazed his side. Tearing his jacket and drawing blood. The mother cried out, wanting to run to him, but fear held her still. Her son clung to her, eyes wide with confusion. The human fought like a cornered wolf. Every strike, every movement was survival. But there were too many. The soldiers circled him, waiting for an opening. His breaths came heavy, his strength fading. One soldier shouted, "End this," and charged from behind. The human spun, barely blocking the blow, but the force drove him to one knee. His knife shook in his hand. The commander raised his weapon for the final strike. "This is the price of defiance, human," the mother screamed. The child's weak voice called out, "No!" And then a sudden roar filled the marketplace. The ground trembled. From the shadows at the edge of the square, more figures appeared. Not soldiers, not merchants, outsiders, faces from the Black District. Smugglers, fighters, even the tusked alien the human had defeated earlier. His arm still bandaged, they pushed into the square, weapons drawn, their eyes locked on the council soldiers. Crowd gasped again. Nobody understood what was happening. The tusked alien pointed at the human, his deep voice echoing, "Council or not. This man fought with honor. He saved a child. If you want his blood, you'll have to take ours too." The market froze. The human, bleeding and breathless, lifted his head in shock. The mother's eyes widened with disbelief, and the soldiers hesitated. The market square was no longer silent. On one side stood the armored council soldiers, weapons glowing with deadly energy. On the other side, a group of smugglers and fighters from the Black District had formed a line. Their eyes burned with defiance. In the middle stood the human, bloodied, breathing hard, yet still unbroken. Behind him, the alien mother clutched her child, her heart pounding so loudly she thought it might shatter her chest. The commander of the soldiers barked, "Step aside, all of you. This human is guilty of breaking our law. Help him, and you share his punishment." The tusked alien who had once fought the human stepped forward, raising his thick arms. "I saw him risk his life for medicine. He could have left that child to die. But he didn't. If saving life is a crime, then maybe your law is rotten. Gasps spread through the crowd. The smugglers were dangerous, yes, but even they rarely challenged the council so openly. The commander's eyes narrowed. You dare question the council? He raised his spear high. Then die with him. The human stepped forward before blood could spill again. His voice was rough but steady. Enough. You want me? Take me. Leave them out of it. The mother's eyes filled with tears. No, you don't deserve this. The boy, still weak but conscious now, whispered, Don't let them. Take him. His small hand clung to her sleeve. The commander smirked. Ah, so the human is noble. How touching. But your words cannot undo the crime. Your kindness insulted the council. Our system is built on power, not pity, and now you must pay the price. He motioned to his soldiers. They moved forward, tightening the circle around. The human dot the smugglers growled, readying their blades and pistols. For a moment, it looked like the square would explode in bloodshed. Merchants closed their stalls. Families grabbed their children and ran. The air crackled with the weight of what was about to happen. The human's hand tightened on his knife. His body screamed with exhaustion, but his spirit refused to bend. If this was the price of saving a child, he was ready. But then, something unexpected happened. From the crowd, voices began to rise. Aliens, ordinary traders, workers, mothers stepped forward. He saved a child, one shouted. He fought where we turned away, another said. He showed more honor than the council ever has, a third voice cried. Soon, dozens of voices joined in, echoing across the square. For the first time, the people themselves were standing against the soldiers. The commander's face twisted with anger. Silence, all of you. He turned his spear toward the crowd. If you stand with him, you will suffer his fate. But no one stepped back. In fact, more stepped forward. The human looked around in shock. He had come here alone, ready to bleed alone, but now strangers were standing with him. The alien mother stood tall, her silver eyes burning with courage. She held her child up for all to see. His small chest rose and fell, alive because of the human's hand. This man is no criminal, she shouted. Her voice rang clear. He gave us what the council would not. He gave us hope. The crowd roared. The square shook with the sound of rebellion. The commander snarled, his authority slipping. Enough. Kill the human. Now. The soldiers raised their weapons, aimed not just at the human now, but at the growing crowd. The human tightened his grip on his knife, heart pounding. He knew what was about to happen. He had sparked something bigger than saving one child. And the price of kindness might be war. The first soldier's weapon lit up, ready to fire. And then a sharp, high-pitched alarm split the air. Sirens screamed across the city. From the skies above, massive council warships descended, their shadows covering the square. The council wasn't just sending soldiers anymore. They were sending an army. The sirens shook the air. Above the city, enormous warships hovered like dark clouds, their shadows swallowing the market square. The people gasped, their courage trembling under the weight of such power. Soldiers in the square straightened, their confidence returning. With warships above them, they felt untouchable. The commander raised his arm and shouted, "This is the end. No human, no beggar, no smuggler can stand against the council." The human stood in the middle of the square, knife in hand, blood still dripping from his side. He looked up at the ships, then at the frightened crowd. For a moment, silence filled his chest. He thought of the mother's desperate eyes, the boy's weak breaths, and the voices of strangers who had chosen to stand beside him. He knew what he had to do. He turned to the mother. His voice was calm, steady. "Take your son. When the fighting starts, run. Don't look back." Her silver eyes widened with fear. "No, you can't. You'll die if you stay." The boy whispered weakly, "Don't leave us." The human knelt beside him, placing a hand gently on the child's chest. "I didn't come here to save myself. I came here to save you. Remember that. Live for it." He stood again, his shoulders squared, his knife glinting in the fading light. Around him, smugglers, workers, and mothers still stood in defiance. Their fear was real, but so was their fire. The commander sneered. "Last words, human?" The human's voice cut through the air. "Yes, you fear kindness, you fear hope. But today, the people have seen it, and no worship can erase that." The crowd roared in answer. Their voices echoed louder than the sirens. Shaking the square with raw defiance, the council soldiers moved to attack. The warships began to charge their cannons, glowing like suns ready to burn. But before the first strike could fall, the people surged forward. Stones, tools, and stolen weapons flew through the air. The smugglers fired their pistols. Mothers shielded their children, yet still shouted in rage. For the first time, the council's power was challenged not by an army, but by ordinary lives refusing to bow. The human fought at the front, blade flashing, his body moving with a strength born not of survival but of purpose. Every cut, every block, every drop of his blood screamed the same truth. Life matters, even the smallest. 1. The alien mother ran through the chaos, clutching her son to her chest. Behind her, smoke and fire filled the square, but the boy's eyes stayed locked on the human. He would never forget the figure standing tall against death itself. When the dust finally settled, the warships had pulled back. The council had lost. More than a fight, they had lost the hearts of their own people. The story of that day spread far beyond Zarin. Whispers turned to legends. The tale of a lone human who risked everything for one alien child became a fire that burned in every city, every world where cruelty reigned. And though the human himself was never seen again, his legacy lived in the boy who survived. Years later, that boy stood before a crowd, strong and tall, his silver eyes burning with the same fire. "He saved me when all of you turned away," he told them. "A stranger, a human, gave me life." His kindness was stronger than fear, stronger than the council. And if he could do it alone, imagine what we can do together. The crowd erupted in cheers. The rebellion had found its voice, and somewhere, across the stars, it felt as if the human spirit still watched, smiling,